Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Listen closely, because this is not just a speech. This is the truth wrapped in iron, a truth that time itself has proven over and over again. There are people in this world who believe they can betray, deceive, and manipulate without consequence. They smile to your face, shake your hand, and all the while they are sharpening a knife behind their back. They believe themselves untouchable, beyond consequence, immune to justice. But listen to me, their own betrayal will destroy them. Not today, not tomorrow, but in ways they cannot yet see, in shadows they do not yet notice, because betrayal is a boomerang and it always comes back. Betrayal is a curious thing. It carries with it a certain arrogance, a belief that one can outmaneuver consequence, that treachery can be executed in silence without the echoes of retribution. But nothing in this world goes unanswered. Every action, every whisper of deceit, every calculated move against another, it all returns, not through the hands of those betrayed, but through the unseen forces that govern balance. Betrayal is a boomerang. It is thrown with confidence, with cunning precision, and for a time it soars, seemingly untouchable, unstoppable. But then, in a moment least expected, it turns. It curves back towards the one who set it in motion, and by the time they realize, it is too late. The very act they believed would elevate them becomes the force that destroys them. There is no escaping it. A person may believe they have escaped judgment, that they have tricked the world, outwitted fate itself. They may even revel in their success, intoxicated by the illusion that their betrayal has placed them in a position of power. They wear masks, adorned with smiles and false virtues, convincing even themselves that they are untouchable. But the truth has a way of carving through pretense. It moves slowly, methodically, never rushed, never panicked. It waits, and when it strikes, it does so with a force. You see, that those who betray others have already betrayed themselves. The moment they chose deceit over honesty, manipulation over integrity, they cast a shadow over their own existence. It does not matter if the world sees it immediately. It does not matter if the consequences are delayed. The betrayal has already begun to rot from within. It takes root in the mind, in the heart, in the depths of the soul, where even silence cannot protect them. They may laugh, they may pretend, but when the world is quiet, when they are alone, the weight of their own actions settles in. No person who has betrayed another sleeps peacefully for long. A guilty conscience does not announce itself in grand gestures. It whispers in the small moments, in the hesitation before a lie, in the flicker of doubt behind the eyes, in the uneasy way they look over their shoulder, fearing that what they have done will soon catch up to them. And it always does, because no one truly escapes their own reflection. A person can surround themselves with distractions, drown themselves in noise, but eventually they will meet themselves in the silence. And what a terrifying meeting that must be. People think power is in control, in manipulation, in knowing how to twist situations to their advantage. But real power does not come from deceit. Real power comes from integrity, from walking through the storm without bowing to the wind. It comes from the strength to stand firm in truth, even when the world tempts you to betray it. Those who remain steadfast in their principles, who do not falter in the face of deceit, they are the ones who endure, because nothing built on betrayal stands forever. Empires of lies crumble beneath the weight of their own falsehoods. A person who climbs by stepping on others will one day find themselves without solid ground to stand on. And when that moment comes, there will be no one left to catch them. It is a fascinating paradox, is it not, that those who deceive believe they are winning, when in reality they are digging their own graves. The higher they rise through manipulation, the steeper their fall. And the fall is always inevitable. Some may evade it for years, may weave intricate webs to delay the reckoning. But no web is strong enough to hold forever. The truth is patient. It does not chase. It does not rush. It simply waits for the moment when the weight of deception collapses upon itself. What is built on lies will never stand. It may shine for a time, may dazzle those who do not look too closely, but beneath the surface the cracks form, the structure weakens, and when it falls completely. No half measures, no slow descent, a collapse. And when that moment comes, when the betrayer stands amidst the ruins of their own making, there will be no mystery as to why. The world will not need explanations. It will have already seen it coming. People often ask, how do you fight betrayal? How do you respond when someone you trusted turns against you? The answer is simple. You do not fight fire with fire. You do not lower yourself to their level, for in doing so you become no better than they are. The most powerful response to betrayal is to stand tall, unshaken, unwavering. To let time do what it always does. To watch, not with vengeance, but with certainty, as the very act of betrayal consumes the one who wielded it. A person who holds their integrity, who does not compromise their principles for the sake of temporary victories, they are the ones who truly win. Because when the dust settles, when the betrayers have faced their inevitable reckoning, those who walked with truth will remain stronger, wiser, unbreakable. It is a lesson written into the very fabric of existence. Betrayal is never the end of the story. It is merely a chapter. And those who believe they have written their own triumph through deceit will one day realize they were only writing their own downfall. Truth is patient. It does not chase, does not demand to be seen, does not force itself into the light. It simply waits, knowing that time will do what it always does. Expose everything. Those who build their lives on deception, who weave intricate webs of lies and manipulation, believe they can outrun the truth. They believe they can bury it beneath layers of illusion, silence it with distraction, twist reality to their advantage. But truth is not something one can outrun. It is not something that can be bargained with or erased. It is always there, watching, waiting, counting the days until it reveals itself in ways that no one can ignore. There is something undeniable about time. It is the great revealer, the force that pulls away masks, that strips away the carefully constructed facades. A person may believe they have hidden their betrayal well, that they have covered their tracks, that no one will ever uncover what they have done. They may fool some for a while, may even fool themselves. But no lie remains hidden forever. It may take weeks, months, years, even decades, but time will always do what time does best. It will show the world exactly who they are. People often underestimate how much time can change things. How what was once concealed so effortlessly can suddenly become impossible to hide. It happens in the smallest moments, the ones they never anticipate. A slip of the tongue, an inconsistency in their story, a chance encounter with someone who knows more than they should. And suddenly, the foundation they thought was unshakable begins to crack. The whispers begin. The eyes linger a little longer. Doubt seeps into places they never expected. They become paranoid, suspicious of everyone, always looking over their shoulder, waiting for the moment when everything comes crashing down. It is a fate worse than any external punishment. This slow unraveling, this realization that their own actions are turning against them. They cannot undo what has been done. They cannot silence what is now speaking. And the more they try to control the situation, the more obvious their deception becomes. Because when truth begins to rise, no force in the world can suppress it forever. This is why betrayal is never as powerful as it seems. It may wound, may leave scars, may shake a person to their core, but it does not last. What lasts is truth, integrity, resilience. What lasts is the knowledge that those who deceive will one day be seen for who they truly are. And when that day comes, they will have no one believe they can live with what they have done, that they can move forward unburdened, untouched by guilt. But the human mind is not so easily deceived. It knows. It always knows. And it does not forget. The weight of one's own actions, the knowledge of the harm they have caused, settles in the quiet moments, in the stillness, in the places where there is no one left to distract them from themselves. It is not an immediate reckoning. not always a grand moment of collapse. Sometimes it is slow, creeping, relentless, a weight that presses down little by little until it becomes unbearable. Guilt is not something that can be reasoned with. It does not respond to justification, does not ease with excuses. It is there, unyielding, persistent, a constant reminder of what has been done. It appears in the form of restlessness, in the inability to sit in silence without discomfort. It manifests in frustration, in anger, in the desperate need to prove something to a world that is not even watching. They lash out, turn defensive, blame others, but no matter how loud they become, the truth inside them never stops whispering. People think betrayal is about the person who was wronged, that it is about their pain, their loss, their healing. And while that is true, the greater burden always falls on the betrayer, the one who carries the weight of their own actions, who must live with the knowledge of what they have done, who must watch as time undoes every illusion to run. They work so hard to create themselves. They fill their days with distractions, with noise, with anything that will keep them from facing what they know deep down. But no one escapes themselves forever. They can move to a different city, surround themselves with new people, change their routines, but it will find them, always. Because guilt is not external. It does not exist in the eyes of those they have wronged. It exists inside them, and there is no hiding from what lives within. There is no peace for those who have betrayed, no matter how much they pretend. Their victories will feel empty, their successes will lack joy, because somewhere beneath it all they know the truth. And the truth has a way of making itself known, no matter how deeply it is buried. And so they unravel. Slowly, painfully, inevitably, not because someone exposed them, not because they were caught, but because their own mind will not let them rest. Because truth is not something one can escape, not something that bends to the will of deception. It is steady, unshaken, relentless, and when it finally demands to be seen, there is nothing left for them to do but face it. Strength is not found in retaliation. It is not in the desperate scramble for revenge. Not in the bitterness that poisons the heart, not in the endless cycle of trying to make others pay for what they have done. Strength is something quieter, something deeper. It is in the ability to stand unshaken, to move forward with grace, to let time do what time does best. Those who betray expect a reaction. They expect rage, expect brokenness, expect to see the wounds they inflicted. And when they do not see it, when they realize that their actions have not destroyed but strengthened, they are left with something far worse than guilt. They are left with irrelevance. There is nothing more unsettling to a person who thrives on manipulation than realizing that their power is an illusion. They depend on control, on the idea that they can shape the emotions and reactions of those around them. But when they see that you are unmoved, that you are not drowning in the destruction they tried to create, they begin to feel something unfamiliar. It is not victory. It is not satisfaction. It is fear. Because if you are not consumed by their betrayal, then what does that say about them? If you are standing, thriving, living beyond their reach, then what power did they ever truly have? To rise above is not to ignore what was done. It is not to pretend that it did not hurt, that it did not leave scars. It is to refuse to let it define you. It is to take the pain and turn it into something unbreakable, something that no betrayal, no deception, no cruelty can touch. Those who walk away from vengeance, who choose to live instead of being consumed, they are the ones who win, because they understand something that the betrayers never will. Peace is the greatest power of all. To wake up without bitterness, to go through life without the burden of resentment, to smile without pretense, to love without fear, that is true strength. The world has a way of correcting itself. No force of deception, no manipulation, no act of betrayal is greater than the simple, undeniable truth that what one puts into the world will always return. People believe they can escape the consequences of their actions, that they can control the narrative, that they can rewrite reality in their favor. But deception is a temporary thing. It holds for a time, bends the world for a moment, but it does not last. The weight of it becomes too much. The cracks begin to form, and those who thought themselves untouchable suddenly find themselves standing on nothing. A person who builds their life on betrayal builds it on shifting ground. There is no foundation beneath them, no stability, only the illusion of control. And illusions do not hold when the truth demands to be seen. The deeper they sink into deception, the more desperate they become. At first it is subtle, a quiet paranoia, a need to watch their back, a restlessness that they cannot explain. Then it grows. They begin to doubt those around them, begin to question if the people they once controlled are now seeing through them. Their lies must become more elaborate, their manipulations more complex, until one day they realize they are no longer in control at all. They are merely surviving, barely keeping up with the chaos they created. And then it happens. The moment when everything turns. It is not always dramatic, not always the grand exposure they feared. Sometimes it is something simple, a shift in the way people look at them, the loss of trust. In the eyes of those they once fooled, they notice the distance, the hesitation, the subtle ways in which the world is no longer bending to their will. The unraveling begins not with a single event, but with the realization that they are now alone, that their power was never real, that their own choices have left them isolated, abandoned, insignificant. Betrayal is a weapon that turns in the hand of the one who wields it. It strikes not the intended victim, but the betrayer themselves. They may think they are in control, that they are playing a game they have mastered, but they are mistaken. Because every lie, every act of manipulation, every moment of deceit carves away at their own soul. They are not destroying others. They are destroying themselves. Deceit! And they will come to see it not because someone will force them to, but because there is no escaping what they have become. To those who have been wronged, the choice is always there. Stay in the past, in the pain, in the need to make them pay, or walk forward unburdened, untouched by the chaos they tried to create, because the truth is, they are already paying. Not in ways the world can see, not in ways that are always immediate, but in ways that matter. They will wake up one day and realize that the life they built is nothing more than an illusion, that the people they deceived have moved on, that the power they once clung to has turned to dust. And they will understand, too late, that their own betrayal has destroyed them. So what do? Do you strike back? Do you lower yourself to their level? No. You rise, you thrive. You show them that their betrayal did not break you. It built you. You see, people who betray are never truly powerful. They are weak, afraid, desperate to control something because they cannot control themselves. And weakness is self-destructive. You are different. You will walk forward with integrity, with strength. And as you do, they will crumble behind you. And so I say to you, do not waste your energy on those who have wronged you. Do not hold on to their deceit, their treachery. Let it go. Stand tall. Watch as the world does what it always does and lets them destroy themselves. Because they always do. Their own betrayal will be their undoing. Wait. Watch. And see for yourself.